We are here to tell you a little bit about there he is, I see him, a new initiative that we've got going this year. We've got our first signature trip running in October this year. We are combining, as I said prior, my two favorite things in the world, sharks and food. So how really, you just can't go wrong with either one of those. So on this signature trip, we've been very lucky. We contacted one of the best chefs in the world. His name is Benito Molina. He is here with us on the line now. He's going to talk to us a bit about what he's going to do on the boat with us. But we are very excited to have him. He's going to do 3 gourmet dinners on board. We're going to do some nice wine. It is going to be a fantastic trip out there. And of course, sharks. So anyway, welcome, Benito, over to Zoom.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very excited about this trip. Very happy. Can't wait.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. It's going to be awesome. Besides the sharks, we're just excited to have some fantastic gourmet cuisine on the boat. I know some of the people on this have not been on our previous on IG, so we need to ask you a few questions again. Can you just tell us a bit about your background and how you came to be a chef that you are today?
I was born in Mexico City. My mother and my grandmother were from Campeche. Campeche is in the Yucatan Peninsula. It's one of the great food heritages of Mexico. And both of them were great cooks. So I cooked since I was a little kid. I mean, or I was in the kitchen with them since I can't remember. I was always very curious about food. So my first contact with food was through my grandmother and my mother. After that, I went to school. No, first I was an apprentice in the Maxime's de Paris in Mexico City. The Hotel Presidente is a very famous French restaurant. Maxime's de Paris, there used to be one in Mexico City. After that, I worked on a tuna boat, commercial tuna fishing boat, 900 tons of tuna capacity. So it was quite an experience, 24 crew members. The first trip, we didn't see land for over a month. It was quite an experience. You know, I was very, very curious about what fishermen would eat or how they would prepare the fish that we were fishing. And it was really funny because they don't like fish. I mean, they like fish, but they eat mostly meat. So the boat was packed with a lot of meat. So we cook a lot of meat on the tuna boat. After that, I went to cooking school in Vermont, New England Culinary Institute. To France. I think I was lost there for a second. I work in France, in Brittany, in a place called Rospordin, a beautiful little town. The fishermen would come up to the restaurant and bring the fish. That's where most of my classical training came from, on the way to prepare fish. I went back to Vermont after that, and then I worked in Boston at a restaurant called Olives with a chef called Todd English. I was really, really lucky. That year, the restaurant won the James Beard Award for best restaurant on the East Coast. And then I went back to Mexico City. That's where I took my first head chef job in a little restaurant in La Condesa. Back then, La Condesa was not as hype as it is today in Mexico City. There was maybe 2-3 restaurants. And that's it. Today there is probably like 3,000. Who knows? And when I was in La Condesa, I got this offer to work for a winery, Santo Tomas Winery. It's the second oldest winery in America. It's a very, very beautiful story. There is a town called Santo Tomas, and they would produce wine because, I mean, at some point, well, I have to go back in history. At some point, the King of Spain decided that he was pressured by the wine producers in Spain and the olive oil producers that the new Spain, America or Mexico, was going to be a big competition. So he did this royal decree that they had to pull out all the vines and olive trees in the new Spain so that they wouldn't compete with the producers of the old Spain. So vines and olive trees were practically erased from Mexico, except in Baja, where the missions were. So because they had to produce wine for the mass, and so the Santo Tomas is a winery that's here because of that. So there is very old vines and very old olive trees here in Baja, and I will be taking some of that to the trip. Of course, we will be eating all of the food made with all Mexican olive oil from the Guadalupe Valley, and the wines we will be chosen for the dinners are produced in the Guadalupe Valley also. Very, very beautiful place, and I was very lucky to see it at the beginning, but I'm going ahead of myself. And that's why we have the wines. I got a little lost, but then I got the offer to come here and work with the winery. I was the head chef for a restaurant called La Embotelladora Vieja in the winery for 4 years. It was a beautiful experience. It was very, very important in the evolution of food in Mexico as it is today, because a lot of these beautiful products that we have here in Baja, like abuloni or the bluefin tuna, or a lobster, a sea urchin, a sea cucumber, many of these ingredients are, or where there still are, well, not right now, shipped to Asia, to Japan, China, and all of these places. And a lot of chefs, including myself, didn't even know we had all these beautiful products here in Mexico that was just being exported. So in those early years in the Santo Tomas winery, we promote that a lot. We had a lot of chefs and invited. We had the chef from the Four Seasons in Mexico City come for Fiestas de la Vendimia. Las Fiestas de la Vendimia is a wine festival that we have in August for 25 years, I think now. No, more, like 30. Unfortunately, this year there will be no Fiestas de la Vendimia. I mean, we will do a small gatherings and little things, but I mean, to get an idea, the last day of the Fiestas de la Vendimia is a paella competition that has like 4,000 people attending. So it's huge. When I first got here, maybe we had 400 people in this party. Now it's grown so much. So we want to bring all these flavors of Baja. No, I'm going back to the Four Seasons story. So the chef of the Four Seasons, Glenn Eastman is his name, came to be the guest chef for the gala dinner of the Fiestas de la Vendimia. And while he was in the kitchen, a fisherman showed up with a swordfish to the door. So this guy could not believe that we had fresh swordfish delivered to the door, and he was the chef of the Four Seasons in Mexico City, and he could not get swordfish, period. So this guy called Pablo Ferrer, which is an oceanographer from here, was in the kitchen. He loves to cook. He was helping there and as a volunteer, and he heard the chef ask about that. And so he's a very smart guy. He got in touch with the chef and he started selling him swordfish. Today, this guy owns a company called El Sargazo, or an Ingredienta, and he's probably the most important distributor of Baja seafood in the world. Wow. It's a huge success story. And this, I'm telling this because this is how the Fiestas de la Vendimia and the food movement started in Ensenada, because that was just the beginning. The place, the Four Seasons was like the first customer, and then word of mouth got around, and today we have ingredients from Baja in all the top restaurants in the country. I mean, it's a must actually to have something that says Ensenada in your menu. So I worked for the winery for 4 years, and in my third year, the winery had 2 restaurants. And in my third year, Solange, who is now my wife, was hired to be the chef of the other restaurant. And we worked there together for 1 year and decided to do our own thing. And we opened Manzanilla, which is our restaurant, 20 years ago. At the end of this month, the restaurant will be 20 years old. We are very happy and excited, well, kind of confused too, because we were gonna do this huge party to commemorate the 20 years. A lot of guest chefs from different parts of the world were coming, so now we have no party for the 20-year anniversary. But such is life. And And it's very easy to say 20 years now in an industry where the average restaurant closes before 2 years of opening. It's a super tough business. And right now we're faced with the most difficult crisis in the industry ever. So we are having to reinvent ourselves. But let's talk about happy things better, like going to Guadalupe.
Like food and sharks.
And sharks, of course.
Sharks. Always had to throw the sharks in there. Yeah, no, I've really come to know since I've moved to Mexico that the Guadalupe Valley is really intense on like the culinary experience is something that's very unique up in that area. You can get everything there, which I was not aware of. I honestly didn't know that, and I've learned that, and it's very impressive that you've got the wineries, such fresh produce, and it's just an amazing area. So it must be fantastic for your restaurant there to have everything such locally fresh grown and sourced and all of that. That's amazing. So
of course, and I hadn't realized this, but the lobster season starts September 15th, so we will be having lobster on the trip.
Yay!
See,
No,
that's
people here. So what makes you the most excited about coming out with us on this trip?
well, of course, the sharks. No, being in the cage with a white shark I've never been is it's an experience I've always wanted to have. I've seen the documentaries many times, and being here in Ensenada, and I'm very devoted to the Virgin of Guadalupe, so go to the Guadalupe Island. My daughter was born on the day of the Virgin. Her second name or middle name is Guadalupe too, so it's very symbolic.
Nice, yeah. So you've definitely got to get out and see those sharks and see the island.
Of course.
We've got a question.
And to live aboard, actually, too, no? Because after working on the tuna boat, which was an experience that marked me forever, I sometimes miss sleeping on a boat. It's nothing like sleeping on a boat.
Well, I'll agree with you to a point. I worked on boats for a number of years, and mostly, yes, there was a few nights, not so much.
Oh, well, yes.
Not so much. But yeah, no, overall, it does have a nice rocking effect to it, especially at Guadalupe, because it's a very protected area. The boat sits nice and calm. It's fantastic there. Yeah, so we do actually have a question for you. Why did you call your restaurant Manzanilla?
Manzanilla is a type of olive, and we have Manzanilla olives in the Guadalupe Valley.
Okay.
That's the main part, but also is there is a type of sherry called Manzanilla from Sanlúcar de Barrameda, near Jerez de la Frontera, and I love sherry. I think sherry is one of the most beautiful or dynamic drinks for pairing.
Oh, okay.
That's why it goes so good with tapas. You know, tapas and sherry is just like this perfect match. So there is a type of sherry called Manzanilla, and the type of sherry that is called Manzanilla is a beautiful story. It's produced in Sanlúcar de Barrameda, and the grapes are exposed to the ocean breeze, so it has a salty note.
Okay. Wow.
So that's the second thing, and the third thing is chamomile in Spanish is manzanilla.
Okay.
So it's the olives, the sherry, and the flowers.
So very important for you. That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah. For anybody who, I guess I should explain. Obviously, we run our Guadalupe trips generally from August to the end of October, and Benito has agreed to come out with us. We're going to be out there from October 9th to the 13th on our first signature trip. Normally, we sail out there the first day, we see sharks all day, and then we have a fantastic dinner. But this time, the fantastic dinner is going to be cooked by Benito. So we're all very excited about that. That's what our general days are, diving in the cages with sharks and then eating very well when we're out there.
Beautiful.
Fantastic trip. Absolutely a fantastic trip. We do have spots available on this trip. So if you are interested in it, just throw our plug in there. Please contact our reservations department at reservations@pelagicfleet.com. LOD is fantastic. She'll be happy to help you out and lots of information on the trip itself. But yeah, this is something we are very much looking forward to. It's new, it's innovative. As I said, two favorite things in life, sharks and food. So There we go. And I know you had mentioned it on the last chat, but maybe describe some of the food you might make for us when we're out there.
Manzanilla, or the type of food we do is a lot of local sorts. We try to work with sustainable producers too, and one of them is the Abuloni producer. It's a farm called Abulones Cultivados. It's in Heréndira. Heréndira is about an hour and a half south of Ensenada, and these are the abulones. Here are the abulone shells. These ones are like 4 years old. So we will be definitely eating some abulone on the trip. I have a shell of a wild abulone also, beautiful colors.
Yeah, beautiful. Can't believe how big that is.
And there is this drink here, very popular in the border called clamato. I don't know if you guys know it, but it's this clam juice with tomato juice. So it's like a marine Bloody Mary or sea Bloody Mary. And we're gonna...
We know it.
And we're gonna be putting some abulone with that. So imagine coming out of the cage and having a nice clamato cocktail with abulone after that.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, Clamato is a huge drink in Canada, actually, for our Caesars, which was invented in Canada. But I would love to take it with abalone. That would be fantastic. Yeah,
great.
It's a nice flavor to the drink. It is amazing. That sounds
awesome. So it's going to be a lot of that and beautiful fish. We will have definitely some of the best fish we can offer in Mexico. We have totuaba, which is very famous because it's a fish from the Sea of Cortez. And unfortunately, it's the one they overfish because of the bladder, swimming bladder, el buche. But there is a farm, and it's doing very successful in La Paz. So we're gonna be tasting some totuaba, some beautiful fish from other farms. Sorry, and also some wild fish, of course, some steak. It's gonna be really nice, I promise.
Awesome.
Gonna get very inspired for these 3 nights.
That sounds fantastic. I've got a question here from Vanessa. She's saying, what has been the most exotic food you have ever eaten?
Wow.
That's a big question.
It's a big question, and one of the answers is not good for this child. I'll tell you later. The first thing that comes to my mind. But one of the worst flavors I ever had was eating hermit crab.
I didn't know those were edible.
I don't do it. It tastes horrible. And then later I find out that they eat all, how do you call it? Like vultures, all like rotting things, no? Rotten things. It's not carnivorous, but just eat leaves of rotten things. Ew. So horrible experience. This happened in, I was in Punta Mita, I think I did that. Before all the fancy hotels, I was camping there. And I was trying everything I could try. So I decided to put some hermit crabs on the grill, and they tasted very, very bad.
Well, I guess you never know till you try.
Exactly.
Even great chefs have those moments that are like, oh, not so good.
Not so good, exactly.
Oh, does anybody else have any questions I'd like to ask? Feel free to unmute yourself or type it in on the sidebar there. We're happy to, anything about the trip itself, Benito's food, throw it out there. Another one, what is your favorite food?
Mexican food, of course. Mexican food. I love tacos. I love all types of tacos. I mean, it's very difficult to narrow it to one thing, but I mean, I love fish tacos. I love carne asada tacos. And here in Ensenada, we're super lucky. We have these sea urchin tostadas that are just like so beautiful. So beautiful. When Anthony Bourdain came to visit Ensenada, he tried this tostada and his jaw dropped. I mean, he loved it.
Wow. Here's another question coming in from Carlos. Do you think there could be any of the famous tomahawk steaks from Manzanilla on the trip?
We can do that, yes. We're going to have one steak one night for sure. So it could be the tomahawk. Why not?
There you go. I am so stowing away. There is a question coming in about safety travel Kabul. Well, this trip is actually not in Kabul. It departs from Ensenada. Guadalupe Island is located about 190 miles southeast, off the coast of Ensenada. It is a protected park area. When you come on a trip with us, we have a host hotel that is located in San Diego. I was actually up there 2 weeks ago and met with them. And then we put you on a bus and we bring you across the border directly to the boat. There's no stopping. And then when you're done your trip, we put you on a boat and put you on a bus and take you back across the border.
Yeah, but we're gonna have a little change, you know. Before you get on the bus, you're gonna have something in Manzanilla, which is right across the street from the dock, right across the street. It's so beautiful. It's true. It's just across the street.
We can do that. But yeah, no, with regards to safety, we have published on our website, and we will be continuing to send out our safety protocols as a fleet, because obviously that's a huge concern in today's environment. We have revamped them all. We're working stringently with the government. We are complying with all government regulations, and we're going to make this as safe as possible. And hopefully we just all enjoy it, because that's what we're there for. Oh, Jorge is asking, have you ever seen a shark underwater?
Me? Yes.
You said you haven't seen a great white, but have you seen other sharks?
Yes, part of the job in the tuna boat, when I told her in the Instagram live we did, was getting the dolphins out of the net. I mean, the way the thing works is the net is 2 miles radius. I mean, it's a huge net. Mm-hmm. And so the dolphin, I mean, the way it works is, I mean, the fishermen are looking for birds because the birds are feeding. So there is this huge binoculars on board. And with the binoculars, if they see activity under the birds, they send the helicopter. So the helicopter checks out if there is the way it happens is the sardines travel, the tuna travel with the sardines. I mean, the dolphins eat the sardines, the tuna and the dolphins are in the same thing, and the sharks are there. So they all travel in a pack, the sardines, the dolphins, the sharks, the tuna. And when they throw the net, they try to keep the dolphins in the center of the net at all times so they don't get tangled. And one of the speedboats is tied to the end of the net, and the boat goes backwards. So the net forms like this banana. It's actually called the banana move in English because all the floats are yellow, so it looks like this huge banana on the water. And the end of the net is a very small mesh like this, so the dolphins cannot put their beak in there and get tangled. So 2 guys have to jump in the water and scare the dolphins to go through this hallway, to call it like that, to go to the end of the net. And then the last meter, some dolphins, they just paralyze, and you have to go in the water and take the dolphins out of the water. So, and I was that guy. So many times when I was with the dolphins and the fish were going wild inside the net, I actually saw a shark take a nice bite of a tuna like 2 meters away from me while I was hugging the dolphin. So yes, I've seen sharks in the water before. Yeah. Not white shark, but yes. And also diving one time in Cozumel, I saw one, but not as close as that.
Sharks are awesome. They're absolutely incredible creatures. That's one of the things we love about what we do is we get to see the sharks all the time and really get to teach people about the sharks, showing them that they're intelligent creatures. They're not what the Jaws, the movie, made them out to be, because that ruined the life of a lot of people when that movie came out, kept people out of the water. But
exactly.
They're beautiful creatures. They're very intelligent. And one of the questions here is this the location where it's speculated that sharks give birth? We were actually just talking with the people of Guadalupe Park 2 days ago, and apparently we are starting to see some juvenile whites, but it's never been recorded where sharks giving birth, especially particularly great whites. So we don't know, maybe, because we're actually starting to see juveniles now, some smaller ones. that would be a fantastic thing to ever see, but I'm not sure. They do definitely come to the island to feed. That is why they're there. And that's why we're there. It's because the congregation, we're guaranteed of seeing them. The one thing about Guadalupe that is absolutely amazing is its visibility in the water. Unlike Australia, South Africa, where you can also see the great whites, we have the great visibility. You go down in that cage, you can see a long ways off in the distance. So that's what really separates us from the other areas that are known for great white shark diving as well. It is absolutely amazing. The first time you're in a cage and you see a great white coming out of the depths is truly amazing. Another question, going back to the food side of it. Somebody wants to study gastronomy. What are tips for that? Do you have tips for that? I mean,
well, the first tip is work in a restaurant first.
Yeah.
I mean, get your feet in the water, see if you really like it.
Yeah, that would be a
because I mean, right now it's become very popular, very glamorous. Everybody thinks it's like so cool to be a chef. You don't tell you have to be 14 hours on your feet, work all vacations, birthdays. So it's a very tough profession, not for everybody, but I do recommend working first. And for school, where I went to school is one of the best schools in the world. New England Culinary Institute is an amazing school. It's here in Mexico, a lot of the guys who ask me these questions, they don't have the money to pay a school like that. So the recommendation, if you cannot afford a school like that, but I mean, if you are in the States, there is fantastic financial aid and those things. Here in Mexico, that doesn't exist. But working in a good restaurant for at least 2 years is as good as going to school.
Nice. Yeah, usually work experience is one of the best ways for a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Figure out what you want to do. I mean, we're sort of in the same business, tourism. It's a tough business, and make sure it's what you want to do when you go into it.
Exactly.
For sure. One more question from Cheryl here. She's saying, do you ever see humpbacks during these trips, or are there cetaceans? No, not up in Guadalupe or in the transit to Guadalupe. What we do see, where we do see humpbacks, spit that out, is actually here off of Cabo. We see them from January to about April. They are absolutely amazing to see here. And we have a little boat that's called the Mobula. We do our safari trips on that boat where we take you out. We can see Mobula rays. We can snorkel with mako sharks, hammerhead sharks, and of course whale watch out there as well too. So if you want to see humpbacks, Cabo is the place to do that. And generally in the winter from, as I said, January to about April for sure. One more question. What do you, Benito, think of Canadian food?
Well, what I've had, I really like. I mean, I cannot say I'm very familiar with it, but what I ate in Vancouver was fantastic. I was invited for the Whistler Food and Wine Festival a couple years ago. The food there was really, really good.
Awesome.
I think you lost me there. I mean, beautiful products. I went to this place in Vancouver that was called, I think, Dynasty Chinese place, and they have this like such variety of live shellfish. I mean, like, no, I've never seen something like that. So many, so good, so fresh, fantastic products.
Awesome. Oh, that's fantastic.
This year we have this, I mean, Las Fiestas de la Vendimia is a very big festival, I mean, for the wine festival here, but we have this other festival called Las Conchas y el Vino, which is a shellfish and wine festival. And it's where the winemakers put out their new white wines of that year. And this festival is trying to like make an experience also, I mean, the wine, the food, but also the marine biologists and all the producers of the oysters, mussels, abalone. And it's a lot smaller event than the Vendimia. And I mean, I've been involved since it happened. Last year we did 20 years of the festival, but I've been curing the food section for really hard for the past 2 years. And this year, our plan was to do a thing of the United States and Canada and Mexico invited as as the 3 countries for the festival, in making a statement that, you know, in the ocean, there is no borders. The fish can swim between the countries, no problem. So make this consciousness that we have to work together in the protection of the ocean and source sustainable and all of this. And it's very sad because we had Canadian chefs coming to cook this. It was in April, which should have happened. So we will do it next year, hopefully. And it's very important because it's the same ocean, it's the Pacific Ocean, and we use a lot of the same products. So I think we can enrich ourselves very much from each other on how, like, abalone is cooked here or in the middle of California or further north, or the gooey duck clam that we also have here, and it goes all the way from here to Canada.
Yeah, I'm familiar with those. Excuse me. Yeah, no, that is something that is really a mandate of our company, is to really help educate people on ocean protection and the things that we have to do. And that's why the sharks are very important to us, because we really want to promote shark protection. The whites are protected, but we can always do more. A lot of the sharks, some aren't, some species, we really need to, as a company, help facilitate that in any way we can, and education is the best way to do that. So on that note, I want to go back to Jorge. He's our marketing director for the Pelagic fleet. We're going to show a quick video. It is of our new baby called the Spock self-propelled ocean cage. So enjoy.
About 5 minutes in it, I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Unbelievable. Sharks are really curious, and they would come around and do these passes where it was almost like a game of chicken, and they would look at you and last second turn away, and I was like, whoa, I've never experienced that, because it's cages are really cool, but it's sort of, you're almost like not disconnected, but you don't feel like you're part of their environment, whereas this, I almost felt like I was. And it was maybe about 15 minutes into the dive that we had this white shark come circle around again, want to play chicken with us, and the last second just opened its mouth right in front of my port. It was the most amazing 45 minutes of my entire life, without a doubt. I'm like still shaking, and I got out like 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago, and oh man, it was like, those moments are going to be ingrained in my life forever. It was pure bliss.
Now that should make everybody want to go diving. Yeah, that is our Spock. If you are interested in the Spock, it is a pre-book only, because she takes a little coordination to get her on the boat, but she can go on either boat, our Salmar 5 boat or the Vortex, either one. But yeah, if you're interested in that, also contact our reservations department at reservations@pelagicfleet.com. LOD is fantastic. Again, should be ecstatic to help you out. Does anybody else have any other questions for Benito or myself or Jorge? Somebody's asking, what advice would you give to somebody wanting to open a seafood restaurant in Mexico next year?
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof. Well, very tough year to open, but I mean, the best produce in Mexico you can get through El Sargazo and Hamat. Those are 2 companies that send produce from Ensenada to Mexico City, and they source most of the top places in the country. Beautiful produce. One of the bad things, or well, not bad things, is realities, is that it's expensive. So you have to consider that opening a seafood restaurant, that you're gonna have to pay for the shipping of, let's say, the best example is oysters or clams. I mean, you're paying for like 80% of that weight is going to go to the trash can because it's the shell. I mean, you only eat this little tiny thing inside the shell. So you have to realize that the shipping and all of those things can be very expensive. So that would be the advice.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Restaurants are not for the faint of heart. I know that it's a tough business. And congratulations on you and your wife for getting to 20 years. That's quite the accomplishment with your restaurant. That is fantastic. And I know when we're up there this year, we're definitely going to come visit you.
No, of course.
Hopefully the Mexican government gives us the okay to start running soon. And as soon as we do, we will definitely be coming to visit you. So if nobody has any other questions, I just want to say thank you again for joining us. This was fantastic. If you have any more questions, shoot that off to either myself, reservations. We're all here to help, and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions. And thank you again, Benito. I'm just excited to do this trip. That's all I can say. Looking forward to it.
Oh, thank you. I'm very honored to be a part of this trip. I'm gonna really outdo myself for these dinners.
Awesome. Well,
Thank you so much, Benito, and thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Michael. And yeah, if you see on the chat, I sent some documents and I wrote Elodie's emails. So we're here in Instagram, email, or however you want to reach out. More than happy to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much for joining.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too. Everybody enjoy.